What's going on, everybody? I'm Brams, and today I wanted to go over my verification process for runs on speedrun.com. So, little disclaimer, this is just what I do. I can't speak to the other mods or even any other games on the site because this is the only game that I deal with. So the run I'm going to be looking at right now is this No Star World Small Only in 5133. So the first thing I'll do is I'll open that run, which I've got in another tab. But I'll also open this forum post. Now, this forum post was written a little over a year ago by Dots, and it contains a bunch of very useful information that new runners, and I guess old runners too, should take a look at just so that they know what to include in their video in their submissions. But if you follow all these rules and this little addendum that I added about a week ago, you should be in pretty good shape for your run being verified fairly quickly. Now, there's other stuff that might take a while, which I'll get into in a bit, but I suggest giving this a read. I also leave it open when I'm verifying stuff, just in case I need to, reference it for anything, whether that's, people including the run starting within 30 seconds of the video or, what have you. So anyway, the first thing I'll do in the run here itself is I will go to the person's speedrun.com profile. And I will do that just to see if they've submitted a run of this category before, and in this case it looks like they haven't, which is fine, but usually I'll go to that run in that specific category and see who verified it, and if it was me, then I'll know, oh, I've looked at this person's stuff before, and in fact I actually verified this small only run before, which is useful to me because small only and no Star World small only have similar rule sets, so I'll know, okay, I verified this run, so they pretty much know the rules. But that's not the most important thing. I do it just to see if I've done it before. I don't really care if anybody else did. It's not that I don't trust them. It's just I want to see if I did it. So another thing is I will go to the category itself on the leaderboard and I'll open up the rules and I'll read through all the extra stuff because, I don't have all this stuff memorized. Sometimes I need to double check. As you should too before you do runs. So I've got this, and then this general rules thread is actually this right here. It's linked in the rules of all the categories on S&W, so you really can't miss it. So yeah, I'll leave this open just in case I need it. I probably won't though. And the next thing I'll do is I will double check that this stuff is correct. Now this stuff down here is the platform that the game is played on, the region, so that's NTSCU, NTSCJ, or PAL, and then whether or not it was an emulator run. So all emulator runs are going to be filed under Super Nintendo, so that's easy, and this is an emulator run. I've actually already watched this whole video, just so this video won't be extremely long, but I'll touch on that in a minute. So I will rewind here. So it is the US version. You can see right on the title screen, this gives it away. And then if we go ahead a few seconds, all this is in English, so that's good. And it, like I said, it is an emulator run. So the next thing I'll do is I will scrub through the video with this preview on YouTube or on Twitch. I guess it doesn't really matter. And I will just look for, in no Star World small only, it depends on the category. So in this category, I'll look for Star World because if they went to Star World, that's a problem. And I'll also kind of look to see if Mario is anything other than small at any point. It's kind of hard to tell in the preview, which is why I don't base it only on this, but I'll just scrub through regardless. Spoiler, they didn't go to Star World, and they also didn't collect any power-ups. So after that, I'll just make sure that they started the timer correctly. Time starts on the frame that Mario appears, so they started it 0.12 seconds early, which is generally not a big deal, especially because milliseconds don't really matter when you're above a certain time threshold on the leaderboard. So now I'll skip to the end and I'll make sure that they stopped it correctly. So Peach appears on 3286. So actually this is a 5132 run and I'll have to change their submission because they submitted it as a 33, but that's okay. So I've checked the beginning, I've checked the end. Now this is the point where I would watch the whole thing. YouTube and Twitch have this lovely feature where you can double the playback speed. So usually I'll set that on 2 and I'll go to the beginning of the run and I'll watch And I know where all the power-ups are, so it's good. So they skip the mid-tape, and there are no more power-ups in this level. So I can pretty much just skip to the end, but I usually watch the whole level anyway. So now I can skip all the overworld stuff. And again, I know where the power-ups are, so I can see if they collected them, and it helps the whole process. That's why the mods have to know the game, because, you know, game knowledge comes in handy, not just when you're playing, but also when you're watching other people play. So yeah, this is the point where I go through the whole thing. Like I said before, I've already done that. So after I watch the whole thing, if I need to make any changes to the submission itself, I'll edit the run. And like I said before, I need to change this to a 32, but everything else is fine. And normally when I make a change, I'll put a little thing in here, retimed to 5132. Is that what it was? Yeah, 5132. So now that that's done, I'll hit submit and it'll automatically verify it. And here it is on the leaderboard. So now at this point, I guess I'll refresh this so that run gets out of the way. At this point, I'll just keep going up the queue. I usually start at the bottom because those are the oldest runs, and then I'll go to the top, and then I'll do the extra categories after that because, you know, extra categories are less important in my opinion. But another thing I'll mention is if a run doesn't have video, and this is just one of my personal preferences, I will skip it. I don't think that's a problem. There are plenty of other mods who can look at them. It's just my personal opinion that all runs should have video, so I don't verify runs that don't have it. Also, you'll notice that I have a run in the queue here. I also don't verify my own runs. Now, it is an option when you submit stuff to Speedrun.com. If you are a mod of that game, there's this automatically verify run thing. I always uncheck this, which sends my run to the queue. Again, just a personal preference. I'd prefer if the other mods didn't verify their own runs, therefore I will not verify my own. Now, that's not exactly a rule. It's okay if I verify my own run, but it's just something that I do. So the process for every category is a little different as well. So you just saw me do a no Star World small only. So stuff like Lunar Dragon, 96, 95 no cape, those kind of videos, and I added this to the forum. It is really important. Well, it's not really important, but it's important to me. Whether or not that matters to you remains to be seen. But it's important to me that there's a file check post-run. And it's only important for these three categories because they have an exit requirement. So 96 exit, you have to get 96. 95, you have to get 95. And Lunar Dragon, you also have to get all 96. So what this does is it will, like I said, it will greatly speed up the verification process, because if you miss an exit in your 96, 95, or LD run, and you notice that after the fact, you won't submit the video and it won't go into the queue, and I won't have to figure that out and reject the run and tell you you missed an exit. Now, it's fine if you miss it, and it's fine if it goes to the queue. It's just part of the process, but it helps speed things up and it helps not clog up the queue. The queue, by the way, today is extremely full. It usually doesn't get this backed up, and that's kind of what made me make this video, is, you know, explaining why sometimes this happens. So it can be people messing up their submissions, people not including the file checks, people not including the videos if I'm the only one looking at the queue. But it could be tons of things. I mean, there's a dozen or so, well, probably less than that, mods on Speedrun.com, and we've all got stuff going on. We can't all always check the queue, but it takes a while. So patience is a virtue, I guess. But yeah, anyway, so for Lunar Dragon especially, it takes a long time. Not only do we have to make sure all the exits were completed, but we have to make sure that all the coins were grabbed and all the moons. So those kind of runs, you pretty much have to watch the whole submission beginning to end. And shorter categories like 11 exit or 11 no cape, let's take a look at this person's run. So it takes way less time to watch, you know, an 11 exit or an 11 minute run rather than, you know, a 90 minute run like 96 exit would be. So I hope that's insightful, useful in any way. Oh, one more thing that actually is kind of important. Submissions that include decimal points, it's fine if you submit them with decimal points, but usually To keep the leaderboard looking nice and pretty, we usually have a time threshold for each category in which we remove the decimals. So for 96, the time threshold is anything 122, so sub 123. There's a 11 exit, I think it's sub 13. We have it written down in the Discord, so that's another thing that might take some time, is having to edit submissions, which we can do actually. So like this one, this 11 exit run will have to be edited to remove the decimals. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I hope this was useful. Hope you learned something, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of bored, frankly, and just wanted to make this video. Hopefully it'll shed some light on why it might take a while for your runs to get verified. But if you have any other questions about this, or I guess anything SMW related, feel free to shoot me a message, leave a comment, all that fun stuff. But yeah, thank you for watching, and have a good one.